All right, welcome everybody to another version of Tech Talk. I am absolutely thrilled and excited to have Dhiren Patel from Dell joining us. Dhiren, welcome.
Thanks, Tareq. Super excited to be here. I know it's been many months since our last Tech Talk. Excited for the opportunity.
Well, we are absolutely super excited to have you here, Dhiren. Dhiren, you are a client technologist, is that correct?
That's correct. I am one of the client technologists here at Dell and have been in this awesome role for the last 6 years.
And you know what? I have to ask because when I hear that, I'm like, what does a client technologist do, and what do you take care of? Maybe you
Yeah,
can tell us a little bit.
and funny you do ask that, right? A client technologist probably sounds like a big buzzword or some kind of formal title, but I'm an expert on our client solutions group portfolio. So all things CSG, which is really the endpoints, right? All of this, what you're probably using right now to watch this, if you're not on the road or driving. But basically, I get to work on the entire portfolio, showcase innovation, and I have the pleasure of talking to customers across the country, really helping them be maniacally focused on that employee experience.
That's pretty cool, actually. And so you're, in my eyes at least, a pretty important individual because you pretty much have hands and feel exactly the experience that all of us have to deal with in terms of how we deal with endpoints and so on. And I'm thinking about the crazy proliferation of devices through the pandemic, and now as we sort of come out of it. What are you seeing from your perspective? What are the things that are most important now as we sort of emerge from that lull of the pandemic?
Yeah, and it may sound cliche, but hybrid work is here to stay. And if you were watching this live or we were in a conference room, I'd probably do a survey and ask you to raise your hands if you are working remote. We could do a roundtable, say how many days are you in the office? 3 days, or are you 100% remote? And I think the consensus is there's going to be this hybrid approach. So key thing here is no matter where you are, whether you're at home, where you're on the road, hybrid, or in the office, you want to stay as productive as possible. Now, throughout the pandemic, there was this big war on talent where we saw, devices potentially being used as a means to attract talent with the latest and greatest technology. You're seeing a lot of organizations invest in the employee experience now. You have aging devices. At the start of the pandemic, flashback to 2020, where maybe you're raiding your closets, whatever you had on the desk, and placed them in the hands of your end users there. Now is the time where you have the ability to take a step back and reevaluate the device story, look at user personas within your environment. Security, absolutely paramount. You're seeing security breaches absolutely rampant. Ransomware attacks. You look at the recent oil and gas industry. Maybe you tried to fill up gas recently and you weren't able to. You're turned away. But there's definitely a lot of trends there. But hybrid work, in summary, is here to stay.
That's, truer words can't be said. As you can see from my background, definitely living and working in the hybrid space here. You mentioned, obviously how important the hybrid work is. What would be one feature that you would say is absolutely the most important if you had to sort of nail it down in anybody who's working in a hybrid environment?
Yeah, so I probably beg you to have two components to talk about. And the first is performance. You want to use your device that's going to keep you productive, motivated, happy to do your work. And then the second would be collaboration, right? We are in an era now where our devices are the lifeline, whether it's Zoom, Teams, WebEx, whatever video collaboration software you're using. You want to be using a device that A, is going to be productive. So you have your performance umbrella, and then B, the camera, the video conferencing, the audio equipment, all of that to really streamline that end-to-end employee experience there.
Yeah, I guess it's so important, and I think we've all experienced, the little hiccups and so on, and videos and all of that. So the bandwidth that you need, the performance just to keep it going, I guess becomes more and more paramount and more important as you're putting more through that. Um, and then there's a big change that's coming on the horizon. There's that big Windows 11 that's sort of I don't know if you want to say it's right at the horizon or if it's already here. I've already got Windows 11, but tell us more about how Dell is preparing for that and bringing it on.
Yeah, so we were all told at one point, hey, Windows 10 is going to be the last OS ever. But in this era of continued innovation, Windows 11 is here, right? You can get devices today with Windows 11. What we know is from a Microsoft stance, Windows 10 is going to go end of support in October of 2025. So now's the time to start piloting, getting devices with Windows 11, and going through the testing exercise that you may need. Now, Tareq, you just mentioned, hey, you're on Windows 11. I too am on Windows 11. So, we're ahead of the curve there. We've been shipping devices that are capable for Windows 11 deployments for a number of years now. So Dell's been doing a lot in this space. Security still absolutely paramount to the hardware story. Microsoft has mandated that, you do need a device that has TPM 2.0. Thankfully, if you do have a device that's been purchased in the last number of years, you will already be at TPM 2.0. So definitely, you're ahead of the curve there. But from a CPU architecture standpoint, if we look at what Intel's done from the 13th generation hybrid core architecture, you have this performance core, efficient core, and then this thread director that's going to be doing this orchestrating of applications and tasks back and forth. If you're using Windows 11, you have thread director capabilities to really provide you with that optimal end-to-end experience there. So, when you look at the overall story, Dell has hardware that is capable of using Windows 11. And now's the time to revisit the refresh conversation.
That's pretty cool stuff. And Dhiren, I was just, one of my favorite events of the year is Dell Technologies World. I've been going for the last 5 years in a row, and I missed this last iteration. What did I miss? What was announced, and what came out from your standpoint in terms of cool stuff?
We'd probably need a longer conversation to go through everything, but obviously the client guy here is going to talk to you about what we're doing in the client space. But first and foremost, to the viewers, right, our customers, our partners, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend Dell Technologies World. It's a massive conference. We couldn't do it without the attendance of all of you. Now, if I flash back to the main stage when we had Ed Ward, Chuck Whitten, Jeff Clark, talk about the innovation in our portfolio. In my opinion, this is, our portfolio has never been as strong as it is now. And we'll talk about some of the innovations. So if we go back to that first question that you asked me, where we talked about, the pandemic, and I hinted at being laser focused on performance and collaboration. We have now in our Latitude 9000 series, and you're going to see that I am in a Zoom meeting right here, right, with myself, because it's just fun to have meetings with myself. But you will see that I have keys where now I can mute my mics, share my screen, start my video, bring up the chat. There's a ton of innovation with respect to collaboration in our Latitude 9000 series. Series, we have a 13-inch, 14-inch, and 16-inch. We went down this path of ultra light. Now I'm throwing this up and down to hopefully give you the perception that, hey, this device is super light. And one of the activities that I love doing if we were face-to-face is to hand you this device and just watch for your feedback, your facial expressions. And oftentimes with our ultralight magnesium alloy chassis, customers are blown away. They say, wow, holy, this thing is super light. And I remember, last year when I got my first ultralight device in our previous generation device, I was just blown away and I didn't even pick up the device yet. It was just the box. So a ton of innovation in our ultralight portfolio with regards to our Latitude 7000 series. Now, precision, we are in an era of the power user, mobile workstations that give you optimal performance for video collaboration. Maybe you're doing Teams, Zoom, Power BI, large spreadsheets. we have our precision portfolio. And last year at Dell Technologies World, we had celebrated our 25-year anniversary. This year, we have, for the first time ever, our brand new Precision 5680, which is a precision 16-inch mobile workstation. We haven't had it. You're going to see a massive trackpad, top-firing speakers, wonderful screen. But not only that, from a performance standpoint, we can go up to a 5,000 class NVIDIA GPU. So device this slick performs a heck of a punch there. The desktop is not dead. What I mean by that is our Dell Optiplex line. We actually celebrated our 30-year anniversary. Some viewers out there may not even be 30 years old, but Optiplex has been around for 30 years, which is great to see. Security, absolutely paramount to the Dell story. Within the hardware lens, we did a tech talk some months ago. Feel free to check it out. But you're seeing that continued innovation around safe BIOS, dedicated means to validate whether or not that BIOS is the same version that shipped from Dell factory and hit your end user premises there. Safe ID, secured component verification. There was a ton of things that we've done there. So security is built into the device, built onto the device through the portfolio, and built with respect to the supply chain. And lastly, I can get pretty fired up talking about sustainability. We have been laser focused on sustainability. And if we go to our 2030 moonshot goals, by 2030, for every product the customer buys, we will recycle or reuse a like product. Not only that, 100% of packaging is going to be made from recycled or renewable material. And then over 50% of product content is going to be made from recycled or renewable material. And if I fast forward to today, 2023, well ahead of that 2030 target, over 90% of our portfolio from a client perspective is shipping with recycled, renewable materials. So you take your box and you put it straight in the recycling bin. You don't have to worry about plastic baggies, cable wrap, the hunting down an X-Acto knife to get into the packaging there. At Dell Technologies World, I know you were asking specifically around Dell Technologies World. We had Concept Luna on display. And this is really a concept device that is showcasing sustainable design and how we're innovating there. So if anyone's tried to take a device apart, not a Dell device, of course, but there's a lot of screws and it could take some time. So now with minimal screws, adhesives, we have, an integrated keystone. The keystone pops off. You can squish the keyboard up, pull out the speakers, the motherboard, the CPU, and put it all back together. So I'm sure with this recording, there'll be some additional links. We can talk about Concept Luna, a couple blog posts and videos there. But if you ever have a chance to check it out, we highly recommend that. There was a lot more announcements there with regards to the Apex portfolio. We had a ton of innovation on the infrastructure side, a lot of advancements in artificial intelligence, generative AI, probably some buzzwords there. But definitely, there's a ton of things that we can talk about, but just there isn't enough time.
Well, that's quite a bit, and thank you so much for sharing all of that with us, Dhiren. We really appreciate it. Hey, for those listening in on this and can't really fathom how strong you really are, can you give us in terms of weight, in terms of pounds, how light that super lightweight laptop was?
Yes. So great call out there. So the ultralight, again, I'm going to do my best not to drop it, but I am wearing this around like a notebook. The 13-inch is sub 1 kilograms. And the 14-inch is just a slightly tiny bit higher. So definitely keep this in mind. If you have any feedback from your end users that are saying, hey, my device is too heavy, I'm highly mobile, your magnesium alloy in this ultralight chassis is definitely something to keep in mind. One other thing that I didn't necessarily touch on, but you are seeing a very broad push for the end-to-end experience. So whether it's the displays, ensuring you have a parity of experience at home, at the office, peripherals, keyboards, mice, headsets, all of that plays a role. And now's the time to reevaluate that to make sure that, we're putting the right devices in the hands of our end users. But definitely check out the ultralight. if you do get your hands on this device, maybe install Windows 11. You checkbox 2 things, and you can hit the ground running, and you're on your modern journey there.
There you go. Pretty cool stuff there. And thank you so much. And I also want to, give you kudos for doing your part to leave the planet a little bit better than how we get it. I think that's always extremely important, and having those sustainable practices. So wanted to just take a moment and say thank you again for joining us today, and giving us a lot of wealth and knowledge here. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity, and to all the viewers out there. We certainly appreciate the support here at Dell, and looking forward to doing that continued business there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.